Hello guys, this is Prem and welcome to Python Learning Series. In this lecture we're going to learn about conditional statements. Conditional statements are used for decision making. Okay, so for decision making, conditional statements evaluate an expression. Okay, so it evaluate an expression and then decide to execute this part of the statement or this part of the statement based on the result. Okay, so true or false are the result. Okay, so based on the result of the condition or of the expression. Okay, so if statement in Python, if construct is used for decision making. Okay, so the program will execute the line of code only when a specific if condition is true. Okay, so let's consider an example. Let's say if a student marks are greater than or equal to 95, we have to assign grade A. Okay, so for that we have to capture the marks, right? So first we will capture the marks and then we will evaluate an expression. Okay, and if this expression is true, we will execute A grade. Okay, so if is a keyword, marks are greater than or equal to is an expression. As you can see here, this is our expression, and expression can be enclosed in parentheses followed by a colon, as you can see. And important point is indentation is very important. Okay, so indentation represents that the following statement are within the if construct or if statement. Okay, so these are some logical operators that are part of evaluating the expression. Okay, like equals, not equals, less than or equals to, greater than equals to, etc. Okay, so let us consider a small example. How can you say a given number is an even number or an odd number? It's a very interesting question, right? So let's take a hint, which is when a given number is divided by 2 and the remainder is 0. Okay, when the given number is divided by 2 and the remainder is 0, then the number is an even number. Okay, let's say we have a remainder of 1. Okay, so if the remainder is not equal to 0, that time the number is an odd number. Okay, so for that, first we have to capture the number, right? So for capturing a number, we have an input command, and by side you can see our Python program. Okay, so first we have to capture the number. So for capturing number, we have an input command. Let's say we have a number 24. Okay, then we evaluate a condition, okay, which says if a percentage sign in 2 is equal to 0. That means if the remainder is equal to 0 and if this condition is true, we want to execute A is an even number. Okay, let's say we have a number like 23. Okay, so when the number is 23, what is the remainder now? It's 1, right? So is this condition is true? No, it's not. So it takes another path and it will execute A is an odd number. Okay, so for false condition we use else statement. Okay, so as you can see here, for else statement we have a syntax like else and then a colon. Okay, and then we print A is an odd number. Okay, so I hope you're getting the point of if else statement. So let's go to Spider and do some practical programming. Welcome to Spider. Okay, so we have a question here. The question says write a Python program to identify the given number even or odd. Okay, so for that we use if condition or if construct. Okay, so first we have to capture or we have to receive a number, right? So for receiving a number, we have to use input command. Okay, so a is equals to integer or int. Okay, so number is an integer, right? They will give a number, so the number is an integer. Okay, so int input. Okay, and in parentheses enter enter a number. Okay, so then we have if construct. Okay, so if the number modulus 2 is equals to 0. Okay, that means if the remainder is equals to 0, we have to execute a, or the number is an even number. Okay, so else, that means if the remainder is not equal to 0. Okay, so if remainder is not equal to 0, for that we use else statement. Okay, so else we have to execute a, or number is an odd number. Okay, so it will show an error first. Let's say 12, and it will show an error that is unsupported operand type as int and string. That means it cannot concatenate int and string. Okay, so for that we have to change the form from integer to string. Okay, so for that we use str command, sorry, not command, it's a method. Okay, str, and we'll print that. It will give like enter a number, let's say it's 12, and print that it will give like 12 is an even number. Let's print again, and let's say it's 13. It will give as 13 is an odd number. Okay, so let's print it again, and let's say 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. Okay, print that, it will give like 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 is an odd number. Okay, so one line if else statement, what does that mean? That means is if you have only one if condition, or if you have only one if construct and only one else construct, you can write all the program, all the code on the same line. Okay, so for that, let's say we have two values, a is equal to 200 and b is equal to 300. Okay, and our syntax goes like this. Okay, so we want to print a if a is greater than b, else you want to execute b. Okay, so I hope you're getting the point of one line if else statement by using only one if and else condition. Okay, so let's check how do we write a Python program for three conditions. Okay, so let's say we have two values, a is equal to 330 and b is equal to 330. Okay, so for that we want to execute a if a is greater than b. Okay, so we want to execute a if a is greater than b, else we want to execute is equal to sign if a is equal to b. That means if the value of a is equal to the value of b, we want to execute equal to sign, else we want to execute b. Okay, so I hope you're getting the point of one line if else statement. So let's go to Spider and do some practical programming. One line if else statement. Okay, so let's say I have two values. Let's say a is equal to say 10 and b is equal to let's say 20. Okay, so for one line if else statement, syntax is we want to execute a is bigger, or let's say a is biggest. Okay, if a is greater than b. Okay, else I want to execute B is biggest. Okay, now when we save and print it, it will give as B is biggest. Okay, so this is how the one line if else statement works. Okay, giving a command like condition1. Okay, sorry, condition1. Okay, so and our another is with condition3. Okay, so for condition3, let's say I have two values. Let's say a is equal to, let's say, 300 and b is equal to, let's say, 300. Okay, so I want to print, or I want to execute is equal to, okay, and execute is equal to if a is equal to b. Okay, and else I wanna execute, let's say, a is biggest. Okay, sorry, a is biggest if a is greater than b. Okay, else we have print b is biggest. Okay, when you print it, it will give like is equal to, that means the value of a is equals to the value of b. Okay, 300 is equal to 300. Okay, so I hope you're getting the point of one line if else statement. Okay, let's do further and talk about elif statement. Elif statement, or elif, is an interesting keyword in Python which is used to evaluate a chain condition. Okay, so what do you mean by chain conditions? That means is chain conditions allow us to have more than two possibilities while evaluation. Okay, so in general, if you evaluate only two variables, you have two possibilities, right? If you have more than two variables, you have more than two possibilities, right? So let's understand the concept of elif statement by considering a small example, which is, how can you find the biggest of three numbers a, b, and c? Okay, so in here we have three cases. Okay, sorry, there are not three cases, there are more than three cases, but I'm just giving you a quick overview how elif statements works. Okay, so our first case is when a is equal to 30, b is equal to 20, and c is equal to 10. Okay, so our condition goes like this: if a is greater than b, so let me just open my laser pointer. Okay, so our condition says if a is greater than b and a is also greater than c. Remember, and is a keyword. Okay, so if a is greater than b and a is greater than c, and if this condition is true, we have a is the biggest. Okay, so let's say if this is condition is false. Okay, so what if this condition is false? Now we jump into our case 2, which is a is equal to 20, b is equal to 10, and c is equal to 30. Okay, and now we have our equation, sorry, we have our expression. It says, and now we use elif statement instead of if statement. Okay, which says elif a is greater than b and a is less than c, and if this condition is true, we have c is the biggest. Okay, and if this condition is not true, we have case 3. Okay, so it says a is equal to 20, b is equal to 30, and c is equal to 10. Okay, so now we don't use elif statement, we use else statement. Okay, so if else statement is true, we have b is the biggest. Okay, so remember, logic is not complete. Okay, so there are so many other cases, like it could be like it A could be 10, B could be 30, C could be 20, right? So there are a lot of other cases remaining, so let's explore them in Spider. Welcome to Spider. We have a question which says write a Python program to identify the biggest number. Okay, so for that, first we have to enter the values of A, B, and C. That's why I'm just giving an input command. Okay, and I'm assigning the values, where I'm assigning the integer numbers to A, B, and C respectively. Okay, and then we have to understand the possible values or conditions for A, B, and C before writing the pseudocode. Okay, and if you can understand all the cases, you can code the logic for all the cases. Okay, so these are the possible ABC values, and in PowerPoint slide we have only 3 cases, right? But in here we have 7 cases, and then we have our logic. Okay, so let's see the logic. Logic says if A is equal to B and B is equal to C, that means all the three numbers, all the three integers are the same, and if this condition is true, I want to print all the three numbers are the same. Okay, all the three numbers are the equal. Okay, so we cannot understand which number is the biggest, right? So then our next is elif. Okay, so elif, if A is greater than B and A is greater than C, okay, then we want to print, and if this condition is true, we want to print A is the biggest. Okay, and then we have when A is greater than B and C is greater than A, and if this condition is true, we want to print C is the biggest. Okay, and our next condition is if A is less than B and C is greater than B, and if this condition is true, we have C is the biggest. And last we have else statement which says B is the biggest. Okay, so let's see how this our sketch gonna work. Okay, so let's say first our input, enter number A. Just so first we, and then we have to follow our cases. Okay, so our first case is 30, 20, and 10. Okay, so enter number A, which is 30, B, which is 20, and 10. Okay, so in print that, it will give like 30, A is the biggest. Okay, and I'm just running the program again, and case 2. Okay, so case 2 says 30, 10, and 20. Okay, so 30, 10, 20. Okay, so to print that, it will give like 30A is the biggest. Okay, and we'll run it again, and it says, or case 3, it says 20, 10, and 30. Okay, 20, 10, 30. Okay, which says 30C is the biggest, as you can see here. And our next is case 4, which is 20, 30, and 10. 20, 30, and 10. When you print that, it will give like 30, B is the biggest. Okay, and our next is case 5, which says 10, 30, and 20. 10, 30, 20. Okay, so when we hit enter, we'll get 30B is the biggest. Okay, and our next is case 6, which says 10, 20, and 30. 10, 20, 30. Says 30C is the biggest, as you can see here. And our next is our last, which is 30, 30, 30. 30, 30, 30. It says all the three numbers are the same. Okay, so this is our program. Okay, so let's do further and talk about nested if, else, and statements. Nested if statements. Nested if is nothing but a if condition or if statement within a if statement. Okay, so let's take a look at our flowchart. It says this is our condition 1. Okay, if condition 1, if construct 1. Okay, and if this condition is false, we have this statement. Okay, we want to print this statement 1. Okay, and if this condition is not false or not, it's if this condition is true, we have another condition. Okay, so this is our another condition, and if this condition is false, we want to print statement 2. Okay, and our next is this condition is true, we want to print statement 3. Okay, so that's how the nested if statement works. Okay, so what is nested if statements? Nested if statement is nothing but a statement or of if statement within a if statement. Okay, so let's take an example. Let's say, imagine you were asked to grade a student based on the marks he received. Okay, so let's say the marks is, let's say, 70. Okay, so this is our code. If marks is greater than 60, we want to print above 60 marks. Okay, and if this condition is true, we have another condition which says marks, if marks is greater than 80, we want to execute above 80 marks. Okay, and else we have not above 80 marks. Okay, so when we execute this program, it will say above 60 marks and not above 80 marks, which is the right output. Marks is equal to 70, which is above 60 marks but not above 80 marks. Okay, so that's it in this video lecture. In another video lecture, we will learn about control statements. Okay, so until that, goodbye and thank you for watching. Thank you.